call this regular council meeting to order. Before we proceed further, I'd like to call on Councillor Dubanow to read the land acknowledgement.
Yes, thank you, Worship. We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Adirondack, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe people. We are beneficiaries of ancient agreements such as the dish with one spoon between the Anishinaabe and the Haudenosaunee, who agreed to share the abundance of the land through peace, friendship, and mutual respect, the two-row wampum, by which the Haudenosaunee welcomed the settlers and agreed to share their land in mutual respect, and the Treaty of Niagara, considered a fundamental document by First Nations in all future relations and treaties with the British. We recognize that we have a responsibility to be stewards of the land in cooperation and collaboration with the Indigenous peoples, not only for one generation, but for all generations to come. We understand that we have an obligation to learn the lessons of our history, educate ourselves about the experiences of the Indigenous people, and seek opportunities to heal the wounds that will result in reconciliation with our Indigenous sisters and brothers. Many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people live and work in Fort Erie. We stand with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of our lands on which we live. We have the good fortune to live in a land of such abundance, diversity, and beauty. Let us be vigilant in protecting Turtle Island.
Thank you very much, and would you all please rise for the invocation?
We meet to serve our community, endeavor to be worthy custodians of all that has been entrusted to us. Let us be concerned only for what will promote good government. May we bring to our council chambers minds that think and hearts that feel, so that in our deliberations we may display imagination, wisdom, and courage, and the will to do our work for the good of all.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, the roll call, please.
All members of council are present, Your Worship.
Thank you. There is no addendum, but I have to comment. In all the years I've been the mayor, in all the meetings that I've ever chaired in this room, I've never had an occasion where everybody sat on one side and nobody sat on the other. So congratulations, this is the first. Just a few announcements, very few announcements. The last week I received the first poppy that has been issued this year for the Royal Canadian Legion's poppy campaign. That campaign starts this week, and protocol provides that one can wear a poppy beginning the last Friday of October. So October the 27th becomes the day when everyone can wear this poppy, which is the symbol of our remembrance and gratitude for those who have served our country in the wars over the past century and a half. And so I hope that you will all take the opportunity to purchase a poppy and definitely wear it during the period October the 27th to November the 11th. Second item I wanted to mention is we have a very talented, we have many talented, but one in particular athlete who sits on our Accessibility Advisory Committee. That's Marilyn Abbs. She was a member of the Canadian Dragon Boat, Parastandard Dragon Boat Crew, which won a medal at the Canadian National Championships recently. There's an attractive couple of pictures of Marilyn with Councillor Noyes, who sits on the committee, in the minutes of this past month's Accessibility Advisory Committee meetings. She has participated and will be continuing to participate in a number of other events. For example, she was at the Birmingham Tennis Tournament in September 2023, Canadian Nationals for Canoe Kayak in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia at the end of August, and the Canadian National Wheelchair Tennis Championship in Dartmouth in the middle of October. So congratulations to Marilyn. She's a great addition to our Accessibility Advisory Committee and a great representative of individuals on in the para-sports domain. And then finally, I wanted to mention that on Friday, November the 3rd, the South Niagara Chamber of Commerce, which consists of the Greater Fort Erie Chamber of Commerce, the Niagara Falls Chamber of Commerce, the Port Colborne Wainfleet Chamber of Commerce, and the Welland Pelham Chamber of Commerce, is holding its annual auction gala at the Buffalo Canoe Club. That event starts at 6 p.m. on November the 3rd. Will involve cocktails, food stations, entertainment throughout the night. Tickets can be purchased through the South Niagara Chamber of Commerce website. I will be doing a live auction for part of the events. A few years ago, before the pandemic, it was for the desserts, which I enjoyed immensely, and I also enjoyed the desserts. But I'm not sure what they're going to have me doing this time around. I'm hoping it's the desserts again, but a good time was had by all. So I encourage everyone to pick up a ticket and attend that event, which supports our Chamber of Commerce. That then takes us to declarations of pecuniary interest. Are there any this evening? If not, then we've got a couple of upcoming public meetings. There's an open house with respect to Town Line Road Servicing Class Environmental Assessment Project introduction, and that is November the 2nd at the Stevensville Memorial Hall between 4 and 7 p.m. We're also about to embark upon our budget meeting schedule. First meeting is Wednesday, November the 15th, which will be the capital budget and forecast. And then there will be further meetings to announce right through until the end of this year and then into the new year. The regional councillor's report, I received a message from Councillor Incentive. He's unable to attend this evening, so he passes on his regrets. I've advised the clerk of that. That takes us then to presentations and delegations, and we have Deborah Fairley and Rosalind Tarrant-Dykins on behalf of the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee. We know that you have a well-organized, well-behaved committee because they're all sitting behind you on one side of the council chambers. But I have to say that I'm beginning to notice that this is starting to tip over to to that side. So in the future, it is permissible for any of you to sit anywhere you like in the chamber except up here. You have to get elected to sit up here. So would you ladies please like to come forward and provide us with your presentation? Good evening.
I would. I'm going to go on the other side. Mayor Redekop, fellow councillors, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm Deborah, this is Rosalind, and this is the Senior Advisory Committee. And they're all supporting us, but we all lean to the right.
Yeah,
So basically, this is all good
might want
news,
to try a little more.
right? I'm very proud here to be here as their spokespeople. So thank you, and same with Rosalind, we're very proud to be here. And this is a success story. So stepping out, some of you attended, and it was very well received. So basically, we want to just do a brief review. So you could see here, it was in the paper. Yay. A nice picture of Mayor, and our founder is Catherine. Now, Catherine doesn't need any introduction. I think most of you have met her before. This was her vision. And when she passed away this year, we stepped up. Everyone stepped up. There was a lot of man hours, women hours, to make this happen. And we had to basically find out where her files were, where her computer was, and step up and do as much as we could. So, in keeping with that and keeping her vision alive, we had many meetings. It took about 3 months of hard labor, day in, day out. And we had the support of the strong Erie, Fort Erie neighborhoods, and the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, everyone here. And we were also hosted by the Lions International. So basically, it was 3 different groups that came together to bring this together. And before I do say that, we had over 200 residents attend, and it was very well received. I'm going to have Rosalind speak now about the vendors.
So we had 28 agency organizations that participated in the Senior Stepping Out event. Together they provided seniors with information on a range of programs, services, and activities. In doing so, that they committed their staff to participate on that day and to help going forward to improve future events, we asked those, the vendors, to complete a 3-question survey on how they were, if they were informed enough about the purpose of the event, was the space and setup sufficient for them, and based on could we have done things differently to make it better from their perspective. We asked 26 agencies of the 28 to fill in the survey. We admitted two agencies, which was the Lions Center, because they were the hosts and didn't really have a man table, as well as our own committee. 19 agencies completed the survey feedback. All the feedback was extremely positive, and the only improvement was could they have more space and longer tables, because they came in with boards that were sometimes larger than the table they had. 2 information sessions were provided throughout the day, smaller groups, around 25 people, and the 2 information center services were 1 Thomas Sinner provided an update on Gilmore Lodge's new long-term care home, and Carol Nagy provided an update on the Fort Erie Hospice. As Deborah said, over 200 local residents attended the session. 24 door prizes were donated for an estimated value of $750, and light lunch was provided to all the residents who attended. Leftover lunches were donated to COPE at the end of the session. The Fort Erie Senior Citizens Advisory Committee invited senior step-out attendees to complete a 1-page questionnaire, read their thoughts and ideas. The seniors provided a 1-page summary of what the committee's mandate was from the town, as well as their planned activities that we had scheduled for the balance of the 2023 fiscal year, calendar year. The main purpose was we wanted to inform seniors and their organization as of the committee's mandate and obtain feedback on future opportunities, ideas that would be of interest to seniors. 79 questionnaires were completed and returned to the SCAC representatives. We thought that was a really good return on a questionnaire to tell us how we were doing. The responses were grouped into then 2 main categories: topics of interest, information and education, and requests for action and activity. Advocacy on senior issues, peer support, volunteer opportunities, and social recreation activities. We still have to go deeper in some of the information that was provided and maybe link people with activities that they aren't aware are already available to them, and then what can we do going forward. Deborah?
I'll move us to our next slide. Do you have it in front of you? That's what you're looking
I
at.
skipped that.
Yeah, we have monitors in front of us.
Terrific. So you can read along with me. I won't bother reading through it. Basically, a lot of our criteria is based on the census. And the ones that stand out to us is the average age population is 47.2%. And over 65 is 27%. But what is really of note is that very soon, the adult age 55 and over, 45.5% makes up Fort Erie population. And this is as of 2021. This isn't even in 5 years. But in Niagara Region, the adults over 55 or older are 38.7. So as you can see, Fort Erie residents over 55 is higher. So this senior stepping out is really quite important. We are making connections. We are connecting 45% of if they show up, 45% of them, or whoever does show up. We're making connections for not only services, but social and each other by having a lunch, by going around to each vendor and speaking with them. We're making a lot of connections here. Now this year was the second year. Last year was the very first one, and it was run by Catherine. We stepped up and we kept the second one going. And we're here to, share our success in this year, but also our vision as a committee is we'd like to keep it going. But because there were so many man hours, women hours. We need your help. So basically, we're here seeking for some kind of limited event coordinator support. If we could get some kind of coordination, coordinating our vendors, our agency, our volunteers, we'll be doing the legwork. We just need help to help organize it. As you can see some of the pictures here, it was a really good turnout. I also want to point out that the Senior Advisory Committee here, we each take a lead once a month, and we do one event. And that's what we're doing. We're working on that, and there's a lot of legwork, a lot of things to do. But not only that, each member, they volunteer elsewhere. They volunteer with the Lions. They volunteer with long-term care, with hospice. They volunteer at the auxiliary, the hospital. So it's not just the work we're doing here once a month. We're also doing other stuff. They're really upstanding citizens, and I'm proud to speak for them. So it's really important to know that's why we need some extra help. Another thing I want to mention is we tried an information session just last week. So we invited 2 police officers. One was a community liaison officer and a detective of fraud, and he actually works out of the Fort Erie office. We had 47 seniors come, but the demographics of the people that showed up weren't just from Fort Erie. They were from Stevensville, Ridgeway. So we were able to reach out to a lot of different seniors that come, and they ran it quite differently, where it would be, they wanted it a question and answer. A lot of the seniors were open enough, were able to ask questions, and they got their answers. It was very informative, and us as a committee, we would like to do more information sessions. So when we sit down and we start planning next year, we're going to see where that goes. But most importantly, we're listening to the seniors. We're listening to the seniors from the feedback that Rosalind got. And when we're at an event, they pull us, each of us aside, and tell us, hey, you know, we'd like to see this happen. We'd like to advise you at council and tell you what we're hearing. And we do appreciate your time today. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you very much for coming out this evening and providing us with this background information. We did meet earlier today, the 2 of you, Councillor Christensen, who is our representative on the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, and our CAO. So it appears that your eagerness to proceed with your program is very much similar to the vision that we have for how the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee can provide better advice and information to us for the things that we can do. And I don't know if there are any members of council that have any questions. My question to the CAO is, in terms of the request, which really relates to support staff, is that something that you would be contemplating providing us with some advice on during the budget deliberations for this year, Mr. McQueen?
Thank you through the chair to our guests, and thank you very much. It was a great opportunity to chat today and have some discussion. We are looking at some resourcing around some of the community coordination that you've put forward here, and that'll certainly be at the decision of council around whether we have the budget to move forward with that. But I do see a lot of opportunities for us to reach out and work through even our current staffing to get some ideas and information back from you as we're looking to the future and planning some of the future demands. And you've got a great source of input, certainly from the Fort Erie community. So we appreciate that, and we appreciate the work that you're doing. And I'm sure we will find ways of working together moving forward. But we will be bringing something back during budget deliberations, more specifically to address the request that you have. So thank you very much.
So before you go, do any members of council have any questions of these ladies? Councillor Noyes.
Thank you, Mayor, through you to the presenter. Thank you for your presentation, and thank you to the committee for all the hard work. I had the privilege of attending, and you're right, it was very well done. I am going to ask a question at the end of this, and I think Catherine would be smiling and be very, very proud of something she started that is moving forward in the direction I'm sure is what she wanted to do. But even though I would imagine a lot of people who attended found out got a lot of information, even though they were lifelong residents of Fort Erie. You probably all learned something. I know I did, and I would imagine just talking to the vendors, all the senior advisory committee had to ask a question, probably learned something too. One of the things that I didn't know that was coming was the wellness center. That was going to be attached to the Gilmer Lodge, and their hopes for planning that. And I thought that was news to me, and I've been here. But I would imagine many of your comments were they kind of around like we didn't know, or thank you for the information, it's helpful?
Absolutely. It was like a aha moment. Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
Any other members of council? Then thank you very much for making your presentation. Thank you for all of the members of the committee for the work that you're doing in our community and for coming out here and providing support to your spokespeople. I'm sure that Mr. McQueen will be looking very diligently into how we can help support your organization because, as I said, your intention to broaden your scope in the community is something very much in line with our vision as a council, what we would like to do as this community grows. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
And since your presentation is finished, any of you are welcome to stay if you wish, but if you'd like to leave now, that's fine too, because I know you've all got work to do.
I think we'll sneak out.
Yep, okay,
Thank you.
that's fine.
Be
We'll
happy
give you a
to.
chance to do that before we get into our business. Yeah. Yeah, we'll be back on that even playing field.
Even keel.
There are no public meetings this evening. We do have a consent agenda. And Councillor McDermott, you have the resolution with respect to the consent agenda.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Christensen, that council approves the consent agenda as recommended.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Councillor Christensen.
I have, probably need your advice, Your Worship. Councillor Flagg brought to my attention a lack of clarity in wording in the Seniors Advisory Committee minutes in the consent agenda. It's a very minor. It refers to the town inspecting a facility, a venue for one of the events. And it was not intended to be a public health inspection or anything, just for accessibility purposes. And Councillor Flagg felt it wasn't clear. How do I go about?
Well, these are the minutes that have been presented to
That's
us,
correct,
and
yes.
so they would have to be sent back before we approve them if you think there's something that needs to be clarified. I'm assuming that would be the appropriate thing to defer our deliberation on that particular item?
Yes, through you, Your Worship. If it's an error, we can update that and make the committee aware or an omission. And yes, probably best practice would be to have them approve those, and we'll bring those forward at a future meeting.
Yeah, okay, so Councillor Christensen, I would entertain a motion to defer the Senior Citizens Advisory Committee minutes of September the 6th.
Pending clarification.
Yep.
I'll
Yeah,
move.
okay. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Dubanow? Any questions or comments on, well, on a deferral? So all those in favor? Okay, so that item is deferred. Anything further, Councillor Christensen? Any other members of council? Councillor Noyes?
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. In regards to Board and Committee minutes 11.3.1, Community Healthcare Services Committee, I'm sad to hear that Dr. Singh is not joining the Verdi group. I'm hoping that perhaps she may still stay in Fort Erie or stay local. I'm not sure. I don't have all the details, but I was glad to read that there's a potential for us to be attracting doctors as the changing for doctors' registration from England and the United States, that we may be more successful in attracting physicians. And I want to take this opportunity to welcome any that would come to Stevensville. We have, it's ready, it's waiting. We've been waiting for a while.
I'd be happy to know that we've been working on that.
Yeah.
And the CAO may have some positive news for you coming down the pike. So
I'll take them out to lunch. I promise anybody who brings a doctor to Stevensville, I will take them out to lunch.
no need to do that, but does he get to pick where?
It can even be the keg. I'm good.
Well, let's keep it in town.
I'm good.
Okay.
I had another question.
Yep.
The other thing was on Crystal Beach Business Improvement Area 11.3.8, they're talking about golf carts. And I know, allowing them on, but my one question is, I'm hoping that they're also, I'm sure it's something that's going to evolve, and there's going to be a lot of do's and don'ts here, but I want to make sure parking these golf carts is not, is part of the discussion, because a golf cart will take up a parking spot. And so again, we have to work out the logistics of that. And so I just wanted to bring that up. And the other one was report number 11.4, the building planning bylaw statistical report. I think it's all what we mentioned in council before. We have a lot of information here about possible subdivisions and things like on plans of subdivision, but things have slowed down, and it's not because we're not encouraging it, or we're not, it's not us that are putting the brakes on. It's inflation, workers, and probably a dozen other things that I'm not familiar with. But I'm hoping that the trend does increase, that we do complete a lot of the plans of subdivision, because I get asked a lot of times, but I'm saying, well, we got a lot, we got enough on the books. We're just hoping that they're going to be moving forward, and I do see there was a significant decrease from last year to this year, but hopefully we'll see that trend change. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lewis, did you want to comment on the Crystal Beach Business Improvement minutes?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. And I wasn't going to bring it up because I was hoping to have some conversations at the staff level regarding the request for a pilot project. My understanding is Pelee Island is one of maybe a few places in Ontario where this has been done. I know it's something of interest with the BIA, especially in the R2B zone, Crystal Beach Cottage area, and closest to the waterfront. So I do intend to loop back with IS staff. I do not know what the process for even a pilot project like this would be, but I do have some concerns, even though I think it's a rather unique opportunity that from a tourism point of view might be worth exploring, especially given electric bikes, scooters, and even of all things coolers that are drivable are on the streets currently. So I'm looking forward to the discussion, but I thank you for raising that. I wasn't going to, but I hear your concern.
Any other questions or comments on the consent agenda before I go back to Councillor Noyes? Councillor Flagg? Yeah.
Thank you, Your Worship. Yes, under 11.3.7, the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, just one comment. They mentioned a couple of places about Vistaprint and promotional items. And just a reminder, we have excellent local businesses that I hope when we're talking about committees and so forth, that we'll encourage them to purchase locally.
Yep. Well noted. Councillor Noyes?
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. Just since Councillor Lewis brought it up about, I would say it's a hard no to motorized coolers. I just want to go on record. Thank you.
My vote would depend on what's in the coolers. Yeah. That's, yes. Okay. If there are no other questions or comments, all those in favor of the items in the consent agenda that remain, that is carried. None opposed. Okay, that takes us to reports, and we have report PDS 69 for 2023 relative to the 986 Ridge Road North application that was previously moved on October the 16th by Councillor Dubanow. And who seconded that? It was in committee. Okay. So this is so for it to move forward here, no, it was already moved in committee, so it's on the table. Okay, so we don't need here to have a seconder. Any questions or comments, Councillor Lewis?
So, Your Worship, I have had an opportunity to speak with the applicant, as I know you have, and based on my conversation with Mr. Parazater, he has asked for a 2-month deferral on this application to work out a number of things on his end, as well as some interests the municipality has had. So I would like to move forward with a request from the applicant to defer for a 2-month period.
So that would be to the regular council meeting on December the 18th,
I will take your word on that one.
is that correct? Yes, it is the 18th of December.
Yeah, so the 18th of December.
Is there a seconder for that? Councillor Christensen. That motion to defer is not debatable, so unless there's something to the timing, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Thank you very much, Councillor Lewis. That then takes us to new business and inquiries, and the first resolution under that portion of the meeting, Councillor Flagg, you have.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Noyes, that council accepts the resignation of Delvin Nutt from the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, and further that council directs staff to proceed with the filling of the vacancy in accordance with procedural bylaw.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Councillor Christensen, you have the next resolution.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McDermott, that council accepts the resignation of Terry Moore from the Fort Erie Public Library Board, and further that council directs staff to proceed with filling the vacancy in accordance with the procedural bylaw.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Any other new business or inquiries? Councillor Noyes.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. I'm inquiring about the open house for the Town Line Road on November the 2nd. It's going to be at the Stevensville Hall, and an inquiry whether it's going to be Zoomed or whether it's going to be televised. I understand that someone has expressed that a lot of seniors who live right there at Parkbridge may be concerned about, because of COVID coming up, et cetera, the time of day, and that they would maybe not want to participate in person.
Well, I don't see anything that suggests it's going to be digital, but Mr. Walsh, would you have some, this is your project?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. There is no intention to have a digital presentation. It is an open house format. All materials will be available on Let's Talk Fort Erie from slightly before the open house for a period of weeks afterwards.
So that will provide residents an opportunity to comment on anything.
This is our typical process prior to COVID.
Yeah, and I anticipated that response, and I think that's pretty much what I mentioned. The other thing too is this is an open house. When it comes, it'll come back to council, and people will have an opportunity also of coming to council when it's on our agenda. Thank you.
Any other items of new business or inquiries? Mr. Walsh, I spoke to your assistant earlier today, and I mentioned to her that I was on Sims Avenue out of curiosity because we've been getting some emails with respect to the condition of that road. And I know that we've been trying to coordinate that in conjunction with the potential development of the apartment building that would have access off of Sims Avenue. Not sure when that's going to happen. I know that we don't want to spend money only to have it wasted by tearing up the road to do the reconstruction. But is there anything that we can do in the interim, because the road was actually quite surprisingly deteriorated. Hadn't been quite that bad earlier in the year, but it looks like it's, and with the winter, the freeze thaw, it looks like it's going to get worse. Are there any options, or is that something that you might want to consider before you respond?
Mr. Mayor, I think we're a little late in the season now to do anything of a major temporary nature. So for the interim, it will just be pothole patching. I haven't been down Sims Road myself in a couple of months at least. It was midsummer when we debated that in chambers here. I was down shortly after that, but I'll take another look and see what we can do.
I'm just wondering whether it wouldn't even be possible to simply have a grader in there, tear it up.
Well, it is an asphalt road right now, so.
It's it's asphalt, not tar and chip?
Well, okay, maybe I've misspoke. It's hard surface of some type.
It is, but there's very little of it remaining. It's, yeah, anyways, if you would look
Yeah,
into that, I'd appreciate it.
I'll take a look and see if there's anything we can do.
Yeah, okay, that'd be great. Thank you very much. If there are no other inquiries or new business items, then Councillor Christensen, you have a motion for us to go into closed session on a few items.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McDermott, that council does now go into closed session at 6:36 to consider the following: appointment, Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee pursuant to Section 239 2B of the Municipal Act 2001, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. Appointments, Affordable Housing Advisory Committee pursuant to Section 239 2B of the Municipal Act 2001, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. 13365 Pettit Road, OLT-23-000275, pursuant to Section 239E of the Municipal Act 2001, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, and Section 239F, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor of going into closed session? None opposed, that is We're back in the council chamber, and Councillor Lewis, you have the resolution for us to rise and reconvene from closed session.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott. The council rises and reconvenes from closed session at 7:15 p.m. with report that council appoints Adelaide Dye to the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee for the term ending November the 14th, 2026, or until their successor is appointed, and that council appoints the following applicants to the Affordable Housing Advisory Committee for the term ending November the 14th, 2025, or until their successors are appointed: William Thomas and Martha Mason, and that council directs staff and legal counsel to proceed as directed in closed session.
Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor? Unopposed? That is carried. That takes us to motions. There are none. Notices of motion, Councillor Lewis.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have a notice of motion to put forward, and that is, the intent of the motion is to ask all municipalities who have not yet contributed to an already existing or currently approved Niagara Hospice project at the $4.83 per resident that Fort Erie and many other residents have contributed. And I will supply the clerk with a copy of the motion shortly, and it will recognize that West Niagara already has a project in the queue.
Thank you. Any other notices of motion? Mr. Clerk, I've got two notices. One has to do with a request of the provincial and federal governments to develop a funding program to assist municipalities in Ontario to maintain our infrastructure assets. And two, that the provincial and federal governments develop a joint program to assist municipalities and private developers and builders to construct affordable housing units. And as part of that, the provincial government follow the lead of the federal government and waive its portion of the HST on the construction of purpose-built rental apartments that will be returnable at the next regular council meeting or special council meeting. And I'll provide you, I think I've provided you with a copy of that. Okay, yours is at the next regular council meeting? Okay. Any other notices of motion? If not, that takes us then to consideration of bylaws. Are there any bylaws that anyone wishes removed from the package? If not, Councillor Noyes, you have the resolution for first and second reading of the bylaw package.
Thank you, Mayor Redekop. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Flagg that the bylaw package containing 148-2023 to accept and declare lands as public highway on the northeast corner of Catherine Street and High Street, 66 Catherine Street. 149-2023 to accept and declare lands as public highway on the south side of East Main Street, 3623 East Main Street. 150-2023 to authorize the sale of lots 478, 495, and 496, Plan 444 to Don Misco, part of 013230 Kenwood Street and part of 013227 Thompson Road. 151-2023 to deem part of certain registered plan of subdivision not to be a registered plan of subdivision, lots 476 to 478 and lots 495 to 498, Plan 444. 152-2023 to repeal 132-23. 153-2023 to authorize applications for the cancellation, reduction, or refund of taxes levied for the year 2023. Bylaw 154-2023 to accept and declare lands as public highway on the southeast corner of East Main Street and Udovich Parkway. Bylaw 155-2023 to deem part of a certain registered plan of subdivision not to be a registered plan of subdivision, 3610 Hazel Street, SR Niagara Investments Incorporated owner. And 156-2023 to deem part of certain registered plans of subdivision not to be a registered plan of subdivision, 3764 Graber Avenue, Paul Texeria and Maura Texeria. Owner is given first and second reading.
All those in favor? Unopposed? That is carried. That bylaw package is on the floor for questions or comments. Councillor Noyes.
I do think that we were given a name from 155-2023 who the owner is. We would not get a name.
Yes. Mr. Clerk, 155, that's a corporation, Niagara Investments, Inc. Did we get that, or did we get the numbered company one? Yeah.
My apologies. apologize for you, Mayor. I did provide the owner for, I believe it was
54.
2023. I sent that to council by email. I did not unfortunately provide the owner for 155.
Okay, so do we know who that is? Ms. Dewaria, would you know who the owner behind SR Niagara Investments, Inc. is?
Your worship, I can look up the file and let you know in a couple of minutes.
Okay, so hopefully before we get to voting on that, except I have a question of you, Ms. Dewaria. How well can you multitask? Can you listen can you listen to me, check stuff out on your computer, and provide an answer to my question that's not related to what you're doing on the computer? Okay. Yes. Yeah. Okay, well, I'll wait.
So what?
Sam Visca. Okay. So if anyone has any concerns about that. My question relates to bylaw 156. This is the property on Graver Avenue that the Teixeiras apparently own. Does this refers to a 156? This refers to consent applications that were approved in 1992. And did it relate to those consents relate to all, or just lots 117 and 118, or were there other lots that were part of the applications? Would you know that?
Your worship, this has come to our attention because of these 3 lots, but I'm not sure if we know about the other ones too.
So the severance that was approved in 1992 would have required certain conditions to be met. And one of the requirements would be that there be a conveyance so that there be separate title on the severed parcels. So that was my question, whether this was all of the land or just part of the land. So it looks like it was just these 3 parcels that were, looks like, well, I guess maybe I should have asked that before. And if we look at what's on Appendix 1, the Teixeira's property is 117 and 118, as extended by it's 117 and 118, delimited by the blue lines. So I'm thinking that the blue boxes are the new lots. And the Teixeiras own part of what was 117 and 118. And for them to build, they have to have a deeming bylaw. Okay,
Correct, your worship.
okay, thank you. Councillor Lewis?
Your worship, I don't know how I missed this one, but I should abstain from
Oh,
the
okay.
vote and discussion because looking at the map that I'm now looking at, I would be within the notice period if there were one.
Well, this was done in 1992.
Yeah.
So unless you've got, unless you feel that you live close enough that you would prefer to declare pecuniary interest, you can do that.
I will declare better
Okay. And
be
yep.
cautious in that.
because you live within 200 feet or
Two
whatever it is.
lots.
Yeah, okay. And so then you'll complete one of the yellow forms and provide that to the clerk? Okay. Any other questions or comments with respect to the bylaw package before I move to 3rd and final reading? If not, then Councillor,
You're going to take that one?
so we'll have to remove that from the bylaw package. So that's 156. Other thing, so then, Councillor Lewis, you can move for 3rd and final reading of the bylaw package except 156.
Yeah.
So you're going to go to 155. at all.
Council.
Okay. So, I'm gonna go to you, Councillor Lewis, for third and final reading of the amended package.
Thank you, Your Worship.
I guess, you know what, just to be clear on this, why don't we all vote, excuse me, on Councillor Noyes' motion again, but remove bylaw 156. Everybody clear on that? All those in favor of the amended package? Oh, you can't vote.
I thought it was with the exception of 156. Okay, do it again.
Okay. Okay,
Can't vote for that. 'cause it's
so we've
with the-
taken it out.
Correct.
Okay, so we've taken it out, so you can vote. So then Councillor Noyes, we're gonna vote on, who is your seconder? So then we're gonna vote on bylaw 156 for the first and second reading. All those in favor? Okay. Now we're going to go to you, Councillor Lewis, for third and final reading of the bylaw package, except for 156.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor McDermott that bylaws 148-2023 to 156-2023, except 156-2023 inclusive, are given third and final reading and be signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the corporate seal affixed.
Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Noyes?
It's not quite reading right. I think you shouldn't have included 156 in the first.
Sorry, I didn't
No,
hear you.
156.
Yeah, but
Councillor-
he said 148 to 156, and then he took 156 out. Shouldn't
But
he
I
just
said what-
stopped at 155?
Except,
Well, isn't that what I did? I said the bylaws through the two, with the exception of 156.
No, first you said 156, and then you took it out.
Okay, so I will read it again.
so it's just bylaws 148 to 155.
Correct. Yeah, that works too.
Okay, everybody clear on the motion? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. So, who is your seconder?
Councillor McDermott.
Councillor McDermott, could you move third and final reading for bylaw 156 for 2023? 156. And you've got a seconder in Councillor Christensen?
Yeah, Councillor Christensen. So I'm moving third and final reading?
Yep.
Third and final reading on 156-2023 to deem part of a certain registered plan of subdivision not to be a registered plan of subdivision, 3764 Graber Avenue. Paul Texera and Maura Texera owner.
And third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and clerk under the corporate seal. You're welcome. All those, any questions or comments? All those in favor? Unopposed, that is carried. And the next resolution then with respect to the confirmatory bylaw, Councillor McDermott, you have that one for first and second reading.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Christensen at 157-2023 to confirm the actions of council at its council and committee meetings held on October 2nd, 2023 and October 16th, 2023, and its council meeting held on October 23rd, 2023 is given first and second reading.
All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Councillor Flagg, third and final reading.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Noyes, that bylaw 157-2023 is given third and final reading to be signed by the mayor and clerk under the corporate seal.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. Scheduling of meetings. Councillor Noyes.
Yes, tomorrow at 4 o'clock in room 1, we have the accessibility committee meeting.
And where, that's in Town Hall?
Yes.
Any other meetings? There's also Community Health Services Committee meeting tomorrow in Town Hall, and that's at 5 p.m. This Wednesday? Oh, that's at Fire Station, yeah, Central Avenue Fire Station, and that's at 6. The Niagara Climate Change Summit is taking place this Wednesday as well at Brock University from, I think it's 8:30, I'm going to say, until sometime in the afternoon. The Niagara Economic Summit is November the 1st, and that starts at 8:30, I think, and runs until sometime in the afternoon. Okay, any other meetings? Councillor Christensen.
Wednesday, November 1st at 10 a.m., from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. The Seniors Advisory Committee is at the Fort Erie Lions Senior Center, and from 5:30 to 7:30, the Ridgeway BIA is at the Centennial Ridge Library. Or Crystal Ridge, rather.
Where did you say the Seniors Advisory Committee meeting is? Right, where it usually is. I think Douglas Heights may be the apartment building. Okay, and that was on, did you say November the 1st?
November the 1st,
And is that when the BIA meeting is?
yes.
And a mass casualty, that's the 25th. Any other meetings? Then, Councillor Dubanow, I'm pleased to say that we've reached the part of the meeting where you get to weigh in.
Yes, the best part of the evening, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Flagg, that council adjourns at 7:32 p.m. to reconvene into a regular meeting of council on November 27th, 2023.
All those in favor? None opposed, that is carried. And I appreciate your enthusiasm, Councillor Dubanow.
I'm looking at it. Wow. Yes, that's right, and that huge open space next